Joining me now is the Bull himself, John Makdessi. John, I appreciate the time. How are you?
I'm doing great, brother.
Good, good. Well, thank you so much for coming on. First things first, you made your UFC debut in 2010, the year I began covering the sport of mixed martial arts. GSP versus Josh Koscheck 2. Take me back to that moment.
I've been a part of many crazy cards, So yeah, for sure. I mean, I've been in the undercard of George St. Pierre. Everybody knows me coming from Montreal, Canada, and yeah, man, it is what it is, So I've been down the roller coaster ride for a long time.
11 years later, 17 fights later, fighting in the octagon. Do you kind of get like the same feeling that you got like during your debut fight, like that nerves, anxiety? Do you get any of that still?
Always. I've been competing since the age of 6, and I still feel that same tension, that same type of anxiety. Like, I don't want to say anxiety. It's just more like, nerves, butterflies, the usual stuff before a big day coming up.
What do you do to kind of combat those nerves?
Well, that's funny you said. I'm 35, so anyone that follows me on my social media knows that I'm a man of wisdom. I got attracted to philosophy. Yeah. It helps me calm the mind. I love personal growth. It makes me feel that, spiritually and mentally, I needed to work on myself because, growing up, a lot of testosterone in sports and fighting, we kind of have the egos runs wild, you know what I mean? But when I get older, I wanted to be more, I wanted to focus on personal growth. And I'm a big fan of Stoicism. I don't know if you ever heard of Stoicism. I follow Stoicism religiously.
Good. Well, it seems to be working out for you very well. So over a decade later, how has MMA changed? I always love asking veterans of the sport this question. How has MMA changed? Or better yet, is there anything you missed from 2010 mixed martial arts to 2021 mixed martial arts?
Well, I'm very fortunate. I've seen a big transition from owner's perspective, like being in the UFC since 2010. Much bigger now. There are a lot of employees, a lot of changes. So yeah, it's been an interesting ride for sure. Changes. I mean, a lot of there's 600 rosters, 600 fighters versus 200 or 300, 400. So many fighters. The sport is growing. So I'm happy to see the sport growing. It's still a very young sport compared to other combative sports.
Where do you see, being that it is still a young sport, but MMA, UFC, it really seems to be evolving so much. Where do you see it heading? Do you see anything, big changes coming in the near future, or what would you like to see?
Well, I mean, in my opinion, UFC, mixed martial arts, is the ultimate sport. It's like back in the Roman times where they had the gladiators, competing in arenas. It's styles versus styles. You have now with the big names like moving up weight classes. Honestly, I feel like it's the sky is the limit. People are evolving, not only physically but mentally. The sport is more mature, and you're gonna see great things happening. I've been witnessing like the last event. These guys, Jake Paul and Logan Paul. Like, it's crazy what's happening with the sport. I mean? It's coming. It's kind of funny and it's not funny. I mean? You got so many different. It's so diverse. It's so unpredictable, and that's what people love. The unpredictability of the sport.
At the end of the day, I know so many people dislike Jake Paul. I personally don't like his personality. However, more eyes on the sport. That's kind of the impression I'm kind of under. It's more eyes on boxing and mixed martial arts. And to me, I feel like that's really a great thing.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you got to always look at the silver lining, right? You always got to take a negative and turn it into a positive. So, for sure.
Man, you want to be a motivational speaker.
Yeah. I got to motivate myself every day. So, why not?
Absolutely. April 10th, UFC on ABC2. How did it feel to get back in the cage, get a great win over a really, really top and tough prospect?
I mean, yeah, there were so many factors, coming off an ACL recovery. I tore my ACL in my last fight in Brazil. getting, judge. It's very tough with the judging and decisions and finding a good trainer. Many things in my personal life was a struggle for me, but I went into the fight, ACL recovery. I had a shoulder injury. I had a knee injury. So, I fought this dude with just a jab and a left kick. So it was a good, I was happy. I dominated the fight. I don't know about the split decision part, but anyways, besides the fact that he was a hyped kid, I was surprised they were hyping him up because he never fought someone my caliber.
No, he absolutely didn't. I think they were hyping him up because of the obviously social media and also like the upkick knockout in the Contender Series. It's one of those viral, knockouts,
Yeah, but I had so many knockouts. But this is the game, right? It's you live by the sword, you die by the sword. You're gonna get knocked out, or you're gonna give knockouts. Hopefully, you're gonna knock out more than you're gonna get knocked out.
100%. What do you believe you proved in that fight? Obviously, you proved a lot, being that you were really injured coming into the fight, and yet you still were able to dominate. What did you prove?
Well, for me, I was ready to die. I wanted to prove to myself, that's the most important, prove that I still got what it takes, and I'm still hungry. Having the right mindset, having the right attitude, that John the Bull Makdessi, I'm still very aggressive and I'm still entertaining. And I did it on purpose to stay in the pocket the whole fight. And that was the fight that I took the most damage because anyone that knows me, I like to make the guy miss. I'm very defensive. I don't get touched a lot in any of my fights.
Yeah.
But in this fight, I had to make a statement.
I was very surprised to see that because you're a very technically sound fighter. One of my favorite parts about you is watching how accurate you are, but at the same time dodging all this stuff. So I was very impressed, but I was very surprised to see that. I now understand why.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? I had to take the risk, and I also kind of I adopted a Mexican style. I'm a big fan of Canelo Alvarez. But it's not the same thing when you have a small glove. This is big gloves. Big gloves, you can put your hand up and kind of get the shots. But with the MMA gloves, the punches can still go through.
Yeah. To yourself, obviously me as a spectator, you prove that you undoubtedly still have it and you're still a contender. Did you prove that to yourself looking back at this fight?
Listen, I am my worst critic. I'm always like, any fighter, any athlete, any artist in general will tell you that they can always improve. But I wanted to prove that I'm well-rounded. I wanted to prove that I was able to beat up the bigger guy because many times people keep on questioning my weight class. John, you should fight 145. Yes, would I had a better chances of having a successful career at 145? Maybe, possibly, but this is the life I chose, and I believe my fate is up to God. So I let my fate leave it up to the gods, and I like to fight bigger guys. I want to be known in my legacy when I die that I stood in front of giants and I was never scared of them.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, you have had a very successful career, and it's exciting knowing that the best is yet to come. I know you're your toughest critic, but how many fighters, past or present, can say that they've been in the UFC for 11 years, had 18 fights with the organization? That's absurd, man.
Yeah, I never really think about it when I sit down. I try not. I don't let my ego get too inflamed. But yeah, I've been in the UFC. I'm a Canadian. I don't think any Canadian from that generation is still in the UFC. Most of them got cut.
Yeah, that is very true. Now, in this fight, you broke your foot in the first round. I know a lot of it is obviously adrenaline, but how in the world do you go for another 2 rounds? Like, I broke this pinky in PE class, and I fainted. Like, I was done. How in the world? You broke your foot in the first round. How does that happen?
Honestly, man, it's a crazy world we live in. Look what happened to Chris Weidman. I feel bad for him. That's like one of the most scariest things that, like, as fighters, we don't really talk about this stuff. It's like taboo. That's the thing that we're always crosses our mind, like, to get these nasty injuries, and that's like one of the things where my whole life of competing, amateur, forget about professional, just as an amateur. I would never go into, I never broke a bone. I've been kicking my whole life, and this is the first time I actually I broke a bone while throwing a kick. So it was, yes, 100%. I give it to, the adrenaline helped me a lot. And also it was my mindset. I was able to block it off. It was very discomfort, and I had to block it off.
I know you just had surgery. Did that surgery go all right? Everything okay?
Yes. I undergone a surgery right away, so that was good. Hopefully it's healing good. I mean, I can't really know because it's covered in a cast, but I'm gonna go see the doctor tomorrow soon. So, not the first surgery. It won't be the last surgery.
Yeah. This is the Hurt Business. I know you've been injured a whole lot recently, but while recovering, is there anything you kind of do while you're just kind of like relaxing? Is there anything you kind of like doing, watching TV, playing board games? What do you do to keep yourself preoccupied while you're healing?
I mean, well, right now I got multiple things on the sideline. Back at home, I have a Bull Nutrition. I teamed up with some guys back in Canada. I'm working on Bull Nutrition. I'm working also on my own casual wear called Bull Wear. You can see on my Instagram. Everything is starting from scratch. I love entrepreneurship. I want to motivate, inspire people. So I like motivational stuff. Like to motivate people, and I'm always writing my journal, and I always stay active. Even with a broken foot, I'm still training. I'm still working on my physique. I'm always trying to grow, and I've been also watching the fights and staying relative and seeing what's happening in the sport. So yeah, man, I just stay busy.
You do have Bull Nutrition, a lot of things going on outside of the cage, but what are your upcoming plans, your goals? Do you have like a specific timetable of when you would ideally like to step back in the cage?
Yeah, so physically, I'm not able to train the way I want to train. So I'm a big fan of nutrition. I had a great mentor for 6 years, so I stay active. I love cooking, so I'm very active in the kitchen. I'm always keeping my body well maintained through nutritional meals, organic. I'm a big fan of organic. I also personally coach people, but once my foot is healed, I want to get back in there as soon as possible, and that's why I stay disciplined, so I'm able to heal quicker.
You want to go on a cooking show. You want to go on a cooking show with Gordon Ramsay, and if he ever yelled at you or anything, all you gotta do is just kick him in the mouth.
I will never be able to work with this guy, because if God forbid he steps out of the line, I'll smack him.
I feel like that would be such a great pay-per-view matchup right there.
Yeah, Ramsay and the Bull. It's not a good combination in the kitchen.
John, thank you so much for the time. I do very much appreciate it. I'm going to leave the floor to you. If there's anybody you'd like to thank for this past victory of yours, and how can people find your website, social media, all that?
Yeah, man. Well, first, I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank the loyal fans who have been always supportive, showing me continuous love. My team, Javier Torres, UKF Gym, back at home in Canada, my family, my friends, and you can always follow me on social media. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at John Makdessi. Go check out my bullwear. It's nice designs. Support my brand, and stay tuned for my next fight.